introduce our fifth and final contestant for Heat1 is Mark Hall. Big round of applause.
Thanks very much. What I want to do today, I actually think science is more about questions than answers. So all I want to do, only having 3 minutes, is leave you with a question that is a question that's very important to all of us, which I think is the biggest question in science. Well, it's the biggest question that there ever has been in science, not just today. So I just want to leave you with this question. Now, before I mean, you're probably thinking, what is this question? What on earth is he talking about? In order to, I don't want to just tell you, I want to demonstrate. So could I have a volunteer, perhaps, who's called Derek, for example? You might need the microphone, Derek. Grab the microphone. What I need to demonstrate this is a volunteer. Say hello to Derek, everyone. Derek, everyone. And I need some chemicals and a bit of paper. So Derek, while I'm just preparing my experiment, perhaps I could ask you just to read out what's on the page.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles, and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished, to die, to sleep, perchance to dream.
Thank you very much. I've got a confession to make. I plagiarised that. I didn't write that. The funny thing about Derek is just some chemicals, right? No offence, but Derek is just, we're all just chemicals. What I have here is basically the same chemicals as Derek. What I'm going to do is an experiment. It's like my Frankenstein 2.0 experiment, which I'll explain when I've got time. I'm going to add these chemicals together. So I've got Derek in this little bottle, more or less. And now I want these chemicals to recite some Shakespeare. It's funny because it's worked in rehearsal. Of course it didn't actually work in rehearsals. The point is, what is the difference between a bottle of chemicals, a handful of chemicals, and life? And that's the big, well, to majorize again, that is the question. How do you go from there to there? The reason why I want to ask that question now is because I think science is actually going to answer that question in the next 20 to 30 years. We now have techniques, which Dennis has already talked about, where we can look at the things that make life work, which are things like proteins in our cells, these complicated molecules. We can actually grab hold of those with lasers, for instance, measure how they move, measure what forces they apply to each other, measure how they work in complicated networks. And that means we'll be able to answer my question, how do we get from this stuff to Derek? How do we make life? Thank you very much.